Now, it was billed as a flagship initiative to get the long-term unemployed off benefits and into work. But the government's work programme has been criticised by MPs who said it's offering an extremely poor service and branded it a waste of money. The Public Accounts Committee said that only 3.6% of claimants on the scheme moved off benefits into sustained employment in the first 14 months. This was less than a third of the 11.9% the Department for Work and Pensions expected to achieve. The scheme is expected to cost the taxpayer between £3 and £5 billion over 5 years. And one person who went on the scheme is 25-year-old Joe Paxton from Shropshire. Now, he graduated from the University of Wales with a degree in genetics almost 4 years ago, but he's only managed to get temporary agency jobs. Here's his story.
Graduated in 2009 with the expectation that coming out, I'd get something. Ever since then, I've been applying for other jobs, any jobs, hopefully within science, some sort of like junior lab technician, anything with scientific background. But that doesn't seem good enough for the job centre. That it's been a bit of a war, a bit of a crusade. They want you to undergo like voluntary work, but they want you to volunteer at specific places. And it really, really does seem that the point of the whole system, they just want you sanctioned, they want you gone, they want you off the books. I've always had work at supermarkets and I've done telecentres and stuff like this, so it's not a step down per se, but it is a robbing of any optimism or hope. It is having your future removed, essentially. This is the thing, we don't want, and I think this is true for most of us, we aren't scroungers. We don't want a free ride, we don't want you to pay our way. What we want is what was taken from us. We want our future back. We want the dreams that you told us we should reach for. You told us that we should reach for the stars, and now they say reach for the shelves.
Well, we asked the Department for Work and Pensions for a minister to come on tonight and discuss the work programme, but they declined. However, they did say the scheme was in its early days and they disputed the statistics, issuing a statement saying this report paints a skewed picture. More than 200,000 people have moved off benefits and into a job thanks to the work programme. It's making a real difference to tens of thousands of the hardest to help job seekers. Well, joining me now is John Wasnich from the British Chamber of Commerce, who is supportive of the work programme. It's good to have you on the programme tonight, John. I mean, 3.6% of the people on this programme have got long-term employment. I mean, that's less than if the programme had been scrapped and never put in place in the first place. I mean, it's laughable, isn't it? Well,
that makes for a very good headline, but actually the statistics that have been reported today and that were released in November don't really reflect the reality on the ground. You have to remember this is the first year of the programme, and the only individuals who will appear in those statistics are those that have found a job and stayed in work for 6 months.
Which is 20 people out of 9,500. I mean, that's ridiculous.
You're talking about people who have moved from incapacity benefit and found work. So that specific number, that 9,500, I think, is people who are still on employment and support allowance. There's another group of people who moved from incapacity benefit and are now on job seekers allowance, and a much higher proportion of them have found work.
Still, if this was happening in the private sector, would you be happy with these targets?
Well, it is working in the private sector. The whole point of the scheme
is a taxpayer-funded scheme. If this was a private company scheme, would you be happy with these results?
The statistics don't reflect the reality. So we know that there's actually some really good work happening. The work programme is a much better value scheme than previous versions, and I've visited chambers of commerce some of whom have contracts through their sort of subcontractors to prime contractors, and they're doing some really amazing work, really innovative stuff, everything from giving access to psychologists and physiotherapists to buying alarm clocks and accompanying people on buses.
So why is the likes of Joe, a 25-year-old, so a young unemployed person, highly intelligent, been through university, got a degree in genetics, so dissatisfied?
Well, I think you heard from Joe that he was misled. He was sold a dream that hasn't been delivered. And one of the things we'd like to see is much better careers education in schools to allow young people to make good decisions about the courses that they want to do.
Genetics, science, I mean, that's what we're being told to study these days.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether he was well informed about what jobs are available in his area and whether there are vacancies in genetics.
And you're from the private sector. How would you use this 3 to 5 billion? Sure, is a better way of using it. How would you get young people into work?
Well, we support the government's youth contract as well. We think the government should do a much better job in promoting it because actually employers just don't know it exists, and those who do know about it don't understand it. But the work programme is a good principle in that it's based on private sector innovation and payment by results, so you get a very good value service.
John Wasnich, thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
time tonight. Coming up on 5 News.